I got fact-checked recently and called a hoax, but I'm so good at what I do, even they had to admit I was telling the truth. Sounds stupid? It is. Let's laugh at how dumb they are while we fact-check their dumb article. Here's lead story said, fact check, Florida is not doing 5 times better in deaths than New York and New Jersey. They posted my tweet that I said, despite all the fake negative media hype, as of posting this, the COVID death count per 1 million population, New Jersey 1,787, New York 1,680, Florida 273. Florida is doing over 5 times better in deaths, yet media tells the opposite story because they protect Democrats. They even included my headline, Florida is doing 5 times better in deaths per 1 million population, scaled for size. The media keeps highlighting that their cases are surging. More cases with less deaths means less people are dying. I'm not sure they care to fully explain that though. So why did they call this a hoax? Was my math wrong? Was I lying? Well, no, I was telling the truth, so they actually had to admit I was telling the truth. Here's from their own article. On this date, Florida was listed as having 295 deaths per million, while New York and New Jersey were reported as having 1,683 and 1,787 respectively. From that perspective, Florida is actually doing more than 5 times better than those northern states. So they made it a point, they're like, it's not doing 5 times better, it's actually doing more than 5 times better. Well, if you look at my tweet, I literally said, is doing over 5 times better. The word over can also mean more than. How dumb are these people? And the fact that they said 295 instead of 273 and changed it for New York and New Jersey, they're actually completely wrong. At the time of posting, it's exactly what I said it is. I showed a screenshot, I showed a link to that page. Maybe they checked it later in the day when they added the next day to the count. I'm not sure, but fact check on their article, false. When I posted that, the numbers I gave were 100% accurate, and the numbers you think I gave at the time I posted are 100% wrong. You're a hoax, fact check, you're a liar, and you're so bad at your job, even you had to admit I was right, with a sarcastic tone. Well, it's more than 5 times. I said over. These people are bizarrely stupid, but thank you for saying to my scale it was doing 5 times better. Now, if they're pretty much saying I was telling the truth, why would they make a whole article trying to call what I said a hoax? Because like we covered earlier, they're very, very dumb, so they use really dumb logic to try to explain themselves. Their dumb logic is, but that perspective lacks critical content. Doing better implies what is happening now, not historically. New deaths in New York and New Jersey have fallen sharply, while new deaths in Florida are rising. Here are images that show the new daily death counts in New York, New Jersey, and Florida over time. This is from their article at the time they posted. You could see New York is tapering off for daily deaths, and Florida's rising. But here's what those very dumb people don't care to explain. In New York's peak, it had over 1,000 daily deaths. Over 1,000. And New York actually has a smaller population than Florida. According to their own chart at this time, you could see the spike in Florida is over 200. Do you remember what I said in my post? I said, the media keeps highlighting that their cases are surging. More cases with less death means less people are dying. At Florida's peak at the time of making this video, they had over 15,000 cases. When New York had its surge, they had less cases, around 11,661. So like I said, New York was having less daily cases, but more daily deaths. Florida's having more daily cases, and even comparing peaks, way less deaths than New York, not just per capita, but in general as well. Now, once again, there's many reasons that this could have happened in New York. One of the main reasons that I'm sure these fact checkers didn't want to cover was the state of New York put a bunch of COVID-19 infected patients into nursing homes. If this was Ron DeSantis or President Trump, you would have seen this on every news station. They're killing the elderly. They're killing the elderly. I mean, how could you put COVID-19 infected patients into nursing homes? But that's what they did in New York, and you didn't hear about it because, like I said in my post, they're Democrats. And don't give me this nonsense of, oh, well, Florida's doing worse than New York now. Yes, this week they have more deaths than New York has. But over the span of 3 months, it's not even close. New York is doing way worse. And don't act like you weren't acting like this in March, in April, and in May. When New York was doing horribly, they weren't covering the fact that they were sending infected people into nursing homes. They weren't covering the real statistics. They weren't covering the death per million like I was talking about. They weren't saying any of that. They were just trying to blame beaches in Florida. They did it in March. They did it in April. They did it in May. And now that cases and deaths are surging, they're trying to say, look, it's doing way, way worse. for a few weeks, overall it's doing way better. And your hope and your speculation is that over the next year, Florida times fives and gets to the point that New York's at, where their deaths per million is astronomical, like 1,680. I know that's what you want to happen. I know that's what you think is going to happen, but it's all speculation. And I'm honest enough to admit that. There's a possibility that anything could happen, but it looks like at this rate, chances are, even if Florida does as bad as it's doing for the next couple weeks and then tapers off, it's still not going to be anywhere near as high as New York and New Jersey. And like I said in the post, the media doesn't want to cover that because they don't. So fact check, I'm right. Hoax alert, you don't know what you're talking about. You admitted I'm right in your own article, and your logic is very fuzzy. I'm honest enough to say that there could be plenty of reasons that New York got hit hard early. One of them could be weather and season. We know the flu does bad in the winter. One of them could be travel, although I would say if you look at travel statistics from that part of the world, Florida actually gets a lot, so. One could be the order to put infected patients into nursing homes. One could be how they're counting. I have a video on how they're counting deaths, and I have a video on how they're counting cases. You should watch both those if you want to know how certain states are counting deaths and cases. But that's the story for today. Some stupid fact checker tried to fact check me and in their own article admitted I was right, tried to do it sarcastically by literally repeating what I said and pretending like I didn't say it. Them spreading false information about the death rate as of the time I posted. They're actually not right. So factually, your fact check article is incorrect, very embarrassing, very pathetic. And their logic is more people are dying in Florida now, even though it's still way less overall than New York. And if you compare the peak so far of Florida and New York had less cases and more deaths, and Florida has more cases and less deaths. So everything I said was true. That's all I was trying to say. Good luck bending over backwards trying to act like my fantastic videos that are 1,000 times better than anything you could ever produce. Good luck trying to act like they're not accurate, because even this person had to admit, what he said was kind of true. I mean, How about you just stick to your reporting, I'll stick to mine, and if you fact check me, I'll fact check you. And I guarantee you my reporting's a lot more factual than yours. Have a beautiful day. If you'd like to support my videos, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/raretalk. You can be a Facebook supporter. Sign up to my free email list at stayintouchwithme.com. Facebook's been getting a little weird. They've been blocking me from live streaming, so hopefully I get that right back soon. Don't worry, have a beautiful day, and I'll be back with more videos.